Hello, I'm Maxine.
And I'm Elliot.
And we're from the Warwick Holdings Asset Management, and we are planning to build a single country fund focusing on the Netherlands. The fund will be seeking for alpha returns and will have an asset allocation based on our extensive analysis of the country. The Netherlands is really interesting for investors to invest in, and our investments will show the ability of benefiting from upturns and try to avoid any harm at all during downturns.
So the Netherlands have a really stable political system with a compromise of culture. It is also quite a fair economical playing field with a relatively low taxation for businesses and a fair and transparent legal system. Historically, also the Netherlands have always been really involved in international trade. For instance, the first stock to have ever been issued has been issued by the Dutch East India Company in 1602. And these altogether are some reasons that make us believe that really the Netherlands are a good opportunity for investors still nowadays. So one can really explain the Dutch success in international trade with three main reasons. So the first reason is really its unchallengeable geographical situation, with Europe's biggest harbor being Rotterdam, and outstanding infrastructure for storage and distribution of goods, a high-density road network. Then the second one will be its strong innovation-led economy, with strong investments in R&D and an outstanding university system, which collaborates closely with the private sector's firms and the government. So there is a strong comparative institutional advantage in the Netherlands. And one cannot forget that Dutch companies are always at the cutting edge of technology. Last but not least, the Dutch workforce ethic is really strong, so that gives a good basis for businesses to grow further, and the social system is very efficient. So the Netherlands have experienced some decreasing domestic consumption these past years. This is due mainly because of the world economic crisis. So the main implications for the Netherlands have been increasing household debt, problems with housing, and austerity measures that have to cut the deficit. And so this has increased the unemployment figures as well, so that is why we believe that the domestic consumption will remain relatively low for the next years in the Netherlands.
Bearing in mind that domestic consumption is relatively low, we will focus on companies that are found in export-oriented industries and that have strong expertise, since they have the most potential to grow. After having analysed the business environment and the current challenges, we have concluded that the best sectors to invest in are agri-food, high-tech, energy, and logistics and water, since they have the most potential for growth and thus promise high returns on investments in the long term.
So one of the other aspects of our fund is that it will mainly focus on small and mid-cap companies, as we believe that they have more potential for growth in the Netherlands. We believe that because they have a really good expertise and they benefit as well from bigger companies such as, for example, in the high-tech industry, Thales or Philips. These companies provide smaller companies with a lot of contracts and a lot of Dutch savoir-faire that we think that can be exported easily and that will survive to low domestic consumption, as it will suffer less from volatility in demand.
Thus, we have decided to concentrate on companies that have shown great interest in being sustainable, but also that have high levels of specialization. For example, the Dutch agri-food industry is a world leader with a lot of added value to its products. We want to focus on companies which have enough skills to tackle the global demand volatility. So the sectors chosen also strongly benefit from the skilled and motivated Dutch workforce, as well as the high-quality living population, which will lead to better demand and better offer. Also, the sectors chosen are part of the government's 9 priority sectors and thus benefit of the government's help. This help from the government is basically a collaboration between the governments, knowledge institutions and businesses, which form the Golden Triangle and which ensure continuous innovation and investments in research and development. Moreover, the sectors we have chosen are strongly exports-oriented and thus are really successful. This is because the country is a trade hub, like especially with the Port of Rotterdam and Amsterdam airports, and also because the country has strong international relations, which help businesses to grow internationally. So thus they can achieve more growth since they can take advantage not only of the domestic demand, but also the international demand. So as you can see, we are really focusing our investments on companies that have really understood the changing business environments and that react accordingly to it. Thus, with our extensive research on the business environment, the challenges and the specific sectors, we can ensure that our investment strategy will bring high returns.
So our fund is quite flexible and will continue to analyze the trends in the business environment as well as the day-to-day events. So we're actively managing, so we'll keep on looking for alpha returns. So this will be achieved mainly by analyzing the performance of the companies as well as taking into consideration micro key factors such as unemployment figures, growth figures and all these things. For foreign currency investors, we'll keep an eye, obviously, on the exchange rates with the euro, trying to hedge that risk in case we need to do it. We'll keep some liquidity as well, some cash, in case a downturn comes and financial markets get volatile. And to conclude, we expect our investors to get steadily growing returns with the investment in the fund, as Netherlands is a solid country with growth prospects and as a really performing private sector. So in regards to asset allocation, we will mostly hold between 30 and 40 equity positions to keep the fund concentrated and to take the most from upturns, and we'll try to diversify a bit more in case of downturns to defend our clients.